Gabriel Hart possessed immense wealth, yet he found himself alone, until a bright day in the park transformed his life entirely. Lila, a young mother, and her 3 infants lay unconscious, the grip of hunger sapping their vitality. Gabriel acted without a moment's pause, leading them to his grand mansion, a beacon of hope. What transpired next? A tale of compassion that transformed a stranger's concern into a love that mended Hart's heart. Welcome to Wealth and Warmth. We would greatly appreciate your support through likes and subscriptions. Gabriel Hart jogged through City Haven Park on a refreshing May morning, the sun shining brightly, illuminating the grass in a vibrant green and sparkling off the pond where ducks floated gently. At 42, he was a billionaire, with Hart Tech's drones and AI patents filling his accounts. Yet the wealth felt burdensome, a constant reminder of a life devoid of fulfillment. In the stillness of his penthouse, the echoes of fleeting romances lingered, each one a mere whisper against the backdrop of a heart sealed tight since the sting of betrayal a decade past. He found solace in running, the beat of his sneakers against the ground silencing the pain within. Today, the park was alive with energy, children darting after kites, couples sharing laughter, and families enjoying picnics beneath a sky so brilliantly blue it was almost blinding. He decelerated as he approached the oak grove, his breath even, when something drew his attention. A stroller beside a bench, tilted, its canopy askew. A young woman sat there, her head drooping, blonde hair cascading messily over her face. She appeared to be around 25, her jeans frayed, her t-shirt marked, a backpack overflowing with diapers resting at her feet. 3 tiny infants, triplets, no older than 6 months, rested in the stroller, motionless, their faces pale, delicate fists relaxed. Gabriel stood still, his heart racing. A sense of unease hung in the air. Something was amiss, profoundly amiss. "Hey," he shouted, rushing forward, his smartwatch vibrating as his pulse quickened. The woman lay still, and he knelt beside her, feeling for her pulse at her wrist. Faint yet present, her skin cool and damp. The infants appeared in a more dire state, their breaths shallow, lips parched. A half-empty bottle of formula hung from the stroller, crusted, as if it had seen far too many uses. Gabriel's thoughts spiraled, parched, famished, fatigued. Though he lacked a medical degree, his experiences in philanthropy boardrooms had equipped him with the insight to recognize the gravity of the situation. "Excuse me? Are you able to hear me?" He spoke softly, giving her a gentle shake. Her eyelids fluttered, green eyes glazed over, then gently shut once more. The infants let out soft whimpers, a feeble noise that struck Gabriel with the force of a blow. He surveyed the park, observing joggers and a dog walker, but no one was near enough. His phone rested in his pocket, yet dialing 911 would consume too much time. His grand estate was just a short 10-minute drive, complete with a personal chef, a nurse available at a moment's notice, ample food supplies, and comfortable beds. Driven by an undeniable urge, he lifted the woman effortlessly into his embrace. She felt ethereal, almost weightless, her head resting gently against his chest. "Wait a moment," he whispered, steadying the stroller with one hand as the baby's delicate hat began to slide off. He hurriedly made his way to his Range Rover, parked at the edge of the park, bypassing the stairs entirely. The stroller collapsed awkwardly, the baby nestled within. As he secured it in the back seat, glancing at their tiny chest rising and falling, relief washing over him. Still there, thank God. The woman, nestled in the passenger seat, murmured a few words, perhaps names like Ellie and Finn, her voice strained and fragile. Gabriel pressed the accelerator, dialing his house manager, Elena, as he sped along. "Bring Dr. Chun to the mansion immediately. It's urgent." A woman, 3 infants, unresponsive, possibly in need of nourishment. "Food and blankets, please now." Elena accepted his words without hesitation, her tranquility serving as a beacon of support. The city faded into a haze, with traffic lights flickering and horns blaring, until his estate emerged, an expanse of white stone and glass, gardens alive with daisies beneath a clear blue sky. He brought Lila, as he would come to know her, into the foyer, with Elena leading him toward a guest suite adorned with sunlit windows and soft cream linens. Dr. Chun, a seasoned pediatrician with silver strands in her hair, was already present, her bag unzipped and ready. Gabriel gently placed Lila on the bed before carefully lifting the 3 babies, 2 girls and a boy, from the stroller. He passed them to Chan and a nurse named Maria, their soft forms cradled in his arms. "They're dehydrated," Chun remarked, assessing the vitals. "Deprived of nourishment, in need of hydration, formula, urgently. Mom requires electrolytes and some rest." Gabriel nodded, retreating slightly as Maria connected the drips, delicate needles piercing delicate arms. The infants, Ellie, Finn, Ivy, their names hastily written on a stroller tag, began to stir, their whimpers growing louder, a clear indication of their presence. Lila gasped, her eyes fluttering open, a surge of panic coursing through her as she beheld unfamiliar faces. "My little ones," she whispered, struggling to rise. "They're fine," Gabriel remarked, crouching beside her. "You are secure. In the park, I discovered you, a sanctuary amidst the urban sprawl. My name is Gabriel Hart. The physician is assisting them." Lila's eyes flicked to the stroller, then to the babies, as tears began to flow. I couldn't feed them," she whispered. "Without funds, there's no home. I made an effort." Her voice faltered, fingers gripping the blanket tightly, and Gabriel experienced a surge of emotion, frustration at her circumstances, or perhaps at her struggle. "You did what you could to ensure their survival," he said, his tone gentler than intended. Her gaze locked onto his, vibrant and unguarded, probing, igniting a warmth within him that had long lain dormant. "Take a moment to rest. They're preparing the formula and fluids. Everyone will remain here until you are strong." She shook her head, frail yet resolute. "I can't manage this, and I'm not familiar with you." Without charge, he stated resolutely, "This is my domain and I set the standards. Your attention is directed towards improvement." He remained still, allowing her the distance she needed. Yet her eyes held on, a brief spark of trust intertwined with apprehension. Chun drew him away, speaking in a hushed tone. "They will bounce back in a few days with the right care. Mom is weary, lacking nourishment, yet holding steady. They've endured unimaginable hardships, possibly without a place to call home. Social services could potentially—" "No," Gabriel interjected, his tone more cutting than he had meant it to be. "They can remain here. I will take care of it." He was torn. Reason insisted on caution and separation, yet his instincts whispered a different truth. Lila's strength and the baby's fragility had shattered his cynicism. By afternoon, the suite buzzed with activity, formula bottles neatly arranged, diapers piled high, Elena retrieving clothes from storage, and Gabriel's niece's old harnesses, still tender to the touch. Lila savored the broth, observing Chun as he fed Ellie, her gaze both weary and watchful. Gabriel lingered, feeling powerless yet unable to depart. His typical command in the boardroom vanished. He inquired, nodding toward the triplets. "Ellie, Finn, Ivy," Lila spoke, their voices more assured. "In just half a year, they mean the world." Her fingers grazed the locket at her neck, aged yet treasured, and Gabriel noticed a flicker of sorrow, intertwined with affection, lurking beneath her fatigue. "They are warriors," he remarked, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "Similar to you." Her lips quirked, nearly forming a smile, and he felt a tightening in his chest. A strange attraction, perilous yet undeniable. He ventured outside to contact his attorney, making sure no social worker would descend upon him. Not just yet. Once they were back inside, Maria demonstrated the process of mixing formula, her steady demeanor soothing his anxiousness. He cradled Finn, the boy's small hand wrapping around his finger, and sensed a change, a weight of responsibility, certainly, but also something gentler, akin to hope. Lila observed, her expression gentle, while Gabriel pondered what captured her attention. A mysterious figure, a potential hero, or merely an individual navigating life's uncertainties. That night, Lila drifted into slumber. The infants nestled in cribs that Elena had arranged, their breaths calm and rhythmic. Gabriel reclined in his study, the mansion enveloped in tranquility, as the sunlight gradually surrendered to the serene evening sky. He searched for Lila Monroe online, but found nothing. No trace, as if she had disappeared completely until today. Within her backpack lay fragments of a story, a library card, diaper coupons, and a photograph capturing her joy alongside the triplets, moments of pure happiness. Who was she, really? What led to her solitude? He made his way back to the suite, ensuring they were all right. Lila stirred, murmuring her gratitude, half asleep, her hand grazing his as he tucked her blanket around her. The sensation hung in the air, charged, as Gabriel withdrew, his heart pounding. He found himself unprepared for the situation at hand, whatever it may be, yet he felt an undeniable pull that kept him from turning back. By morning, Lila felt revitalized, sitting upright, cradling Ivy as Ellie and Finn enjoyed their peaceful slumber. "What is the reason behind your actions?" she inquired, her gaze probing his. "You're not familiar with who I am." Gabriel halted. Rays of sunlight poured through the window, illuminating her hair as if it were spun from gold. "I can't say for sure," he confessed, "but I noticed you them and I couldn't help but assist. Perhaps this will suffice for the time being." She nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek, and Gabriel sensed it deeply. A flicker, delicate yet undeniable, of something that remained unnamed for both. The morning sun streamed through the guest suite's tall windows, enveloping the room in a warm glow that played upon cream linens and polished wood. Lila Monroe reclined against the pillows, her blonde hair cascading freely, her green eyes more vibrant than the day before yet still tinged with fatigue. The triplets, Ellie, Finn, and Ivy, lay peacefully in their cribs, their little chests rising and falling in a gentle rhythm, while empty formula bottles rested on a nearby tray. The fours had vanished, with Dr. Chen's visit affirming their stabilization. Yet Lila's hold on her locket revealed her persistent anxiety. At 25, she found herself a widow and a mother of 3. Just yesterday, she had collapsed in the park, her strength drained by hunger. Now she found herself in a billionaire's mansion, her life spared by a stranger named Gabriel Hart. Gabriel tapped gently, resting in the doorway, his dark hair a bit disheveled, his typical blazer replaced by a gray sweater that gently draped over his sturdy build. At 42, he exuded an aura of authority. The empire of Hart Tech required nothing less. Yet in Lila's presence, he felt adrift, as if he were treading upon unfamiliar terrain. "Good morning," he said, his voice imbued with warmth yet tinged with caution. "How are you doing today?" "Improved," Lila remarked, her tone more composed, even as her hands continued to fidget. "The infants are eating and sleeping," Dr. Chun remarked, her voice fading as she swallowed. "I appreciate all that you've done." Gabriel nodded as he entered, a tray of toast and juice carefully balanced in his hands. It was Elena's creation, yet he had insisted on being the one to deliver it. He placed it beside her, insisting that no thanks were necessary. "You all frightened me yesterday." His gaze darted to the cribs, a brief flash of emotion, perhaps concern, passing over his features. Lila's lips curled slightly, hinting at something more than a smile. She confessed, a hint of fear in her voice, as she looked over at Ellie, who responded with a gentle coo. I believed they were gone for good." Her voice trembled, and Gabriel felt a constriction in his chest, the sincerity in her words resonating with a familiar ache, a sense of loss, even if his experience was distinct. "You didn't," he said, drawing a chair closer, maintaining a respectful distance yet close enough to sense her presence. "They possess a resilience that mirrors their mother." Her eyes locked onto his, vibrant and probing, and for an instant, the space around them contracted, the atmosphere thick with an unarticulated tension, a heat, an attraction that Gabriel felt but couldn't quite define. She averted her gaze, gently caressing her locket. "You don't know me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What is the purpose of this? This location, the physician, it's overwhelming." Gabriel leaned in, resting his elbows on his knees, carefully selecting his words. "In that park, Lila, I caught sight of you and your companions, and I found myself unable to turn away. Perhaps it was intuition, or maybe I simply craved to engage in something tangible for a change." He offered a slight smile, tinged with humility. "My existence has revolved around endless meetings and an overwhelming sea of numbers for far too long." Her brow knitted together, a blend of intrigue and caution. "You are Gabriel Hart," she remarked, as though she were trying the name on for size. "I noticed your name on magazines and billboards. You don't strike me as that type of person." He chuckled, a soft sound that caught him off guard. "Well, that fellow is quite dull." Her lips curved into a genuine smile, small yet radiant, and Gabriel sensed its warmth. A flicker, perilous and vibrant, akin to sunlight glinting off crystal. Elena hurried in, interrupting the scene. Her arms brimming with baby clothes, delicate rompers, little socks, all pristine, never borrowed. "For the young ones," she remarked, giving Lila a playful wink. "Instructions from Mr. Hart." Lila's eyes grew wide, while Gabriel offered a sheepish shrug. He had impulsively spent $2,000 online the previous night, unable to rein himself in. "You didn't have to," Lila said, her fingers grazing a tiny hat, her voice taking on a gentler tone. "They've always been without new things." "They do now," Gabriel remarked, rising to allow her some room. "Take a break, nourish yourself. I will follow up later." He departed, heart racing, her smile echoing in his mind like a tune he couldn't forget. Amidst his study, Gabriel endeavored to concentrate, as emails accumulated around him. A prototype of the drone awaited approval. Yet his thoughts wandered to Lila. Her resilience, navigating the trials of motherhood with 3 little ones, awakened a deep yearning within him, a feeling he thought he'd buried since the betrayal of his former fiancée a decade prior. He had vowed to reject love, constructing barriers around his heart. Yet Lila's eyes began to wear them down, her blend of fragility and passion reflecting the void within him. By noon, Lila had risen, determined to take on the task of feeding the triplets herself. Gabriel discovered her in the suite, cradling Ellie, while Finn and Ivy cooed softly in their cribs. The room radiated with brilliance, sunlight pouring in. Daisy's Elena had placed a vibrant bouquet on the table. "Could you lend me a hand?" he inquired, uncertainty in his voice. Lila looked up, the bottle momentarily halted in her hand. "You're familiar with the process of nourishing an infant," he confessed with a smile, completely at a loss. "However, I learned swiftly." She chuckled, a genuine sound, gentle yet distinct, and gave a nod. "All right, newcomer, Finn is in your hands." She demonstrated the way, her hands leading his to grasp the bottle, her touch fleeting yet charged with energy. Finn's small mouth moved, his blue eyes fixed on Gabriel, and a change occurred, a burden easing, a warmth embracing. Lila observed, her demeanor inscrutable yet gentle, and Gabriel pondered whether she sensed it. 2. In quietude, they nourished the infants, the air filled solely with their gentle coos and the soft whir of the ceiling fan. As Ivy stirred, Gabriel gently rocked her crib, echoing Lila's soothing rhythm, and a smile broke across her face, a brief spark of trust emerging. "You're doing quite well," she remarked, as she adjusted Ellie's blanket. "Beginner's luck," he remarked, yet his gaze lingered on hers, a moment too extended, causing her cheeks to bloom, rosy in the sunlight. During lunch, the sandwiches were left by Elena. Lila began to share, her voice wavering yet sincere. "I wasn't always like this," she remarked, absently toying with her food. 2 years have passed since my husband, Tom, tragically lost his life in a car accident, just before the arrival of our babies. We possessed a home, a vision. Next came the debt, followed by eviction, and then the job loss. I found it challenging to maintain the pace." Gabriel sat in silence, his sandwich forgotten, a quiet fury brewing within him, not directed at her, but at a world that allowed her to stumble. "You're still here," he remarked, "and that's an achievement for many." She shook her head, her gaze lost in thought. "Hardly. The park is a serene escape, a canvas of nature where one can find solace and inspiration amidst the rustling leaves and gentle breezes. I had been foregoing meals, putting aside money for formula." Unexpectedly, she paused, tears welling up, while Gabriel's hand trembled, yearning to extend but hesitating at the last moment. "You're present now," he remarked, his voice barely above a whisper. "You don't have to struggle in solitude." Her eyes locked onto his, a blend of caution and intrigue flickering within them. "What makes you concerned, Gabriel? Is that so?" He halted, sunlight dancing in his dark eyes, causing them to shimmer. "Because you remind me there's more than this," he said, waving his hand toward the mansion. "Beyond my own self, those children truly deserve more." "Indeed you do." She blinked, tears streaming down her cheeks, and wiped them away, a tremulous laugh breaking free. "You're quite the handful," she remarked, with a playful glint in her eye. Yet her gaze remained, a flicker of an unnamed essence. That afternoon, Gabriel unveiled the mansion to her. Radiant corridors, a collection of books illuminated by sunlight, a garden overflowing with vibrant roses and fragrant lavender. Lila held Ivy close, while Gabriel maneuvered the stroller, and Finn and Ellie were peacefully napping. "It's reminiscent of a fairy tale," she remarked, stopping beside a fountain, its water glistening in the light. "Fairy tales are filled with dragons," he remarked, a grin spreading across his face. "This is simply home. For the time being, yours as well." She observed him intently, sunlight illuminating her hair as if it were a divine aura. "For now," she echoed, yet her voice carried a question, a glimmer of hope, and Gabriel sensed it deeply. An attraction more profound than mere compassion, to something he had yet to possess. That evening, he established a nursery, investing $5,000 in cribs, monitors, toys, all delivered promptly. Lila objected, her pride igniting, yet her demeanor shifted as she caught sight of Ellie seizing a rattle, laughter bubbling forth. "You're spoiling them," she remarked, standing near, her shoulder lightly grazing his. "Good," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, their gazes intertwining once more, the atmosphere charged with potential. He took a step back, clearing his throat, yet the moment lingered, a seed sown. That evening, Lila discovered him in the kitchen, struggling with a coffee maker. Restless, she inquired, cradling Ivy, as the mansion lay still beneath a blanket of stars. "Never do," he said, extending a mug toward her. Their fingers grazed against each other, sending a shockwave through him, and her rosy cheeks revealed she felt it as well. "Me." With a sense of concern, she confessed, gently cradling Ivy. "This evokes, so exquisite it feels like it could shatter." "It won't," he asserted, moving in closer, his voice resolute. "I'm here to stay." Her gaze sought his, a blend of fragility and courage. "Promise?" she whispered, a hint of jest in her voice, yet the word lingered with weight. "I promise," he declared, sincerity in his voice, as the distance between them diminished, a heartbeat away from something greater, until Ivy's gentle coo shattered the enchantment. They chuckled, retreating slightly, yet Gabriel understood that Lila was far more than an ordinary visitor. She represented an opportunity, though he couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. Nevertheless, he was determined to discover the truth. The nursery in Gabriel Hart's mansion gleamed in the mid-morning light, its soft blue walls decorated with cheerful daisy decals, as sunlight poured through expansive windows onto the cozy, plush rugs. 3 cribs stood in a neat row, each cradling a giggling triplet, Ellie, Finn, and Ivy, 6 months old, their cheeks rosy now, a stark contrast to the pale infants Gabriel had discovered fainted in City Haven Park just a week prior. Lila Monroe sat on the floor with her legs crossed, her blonde hair pulled back, and her green eyes sparkling as she dangled a rattle for Finn, who eagerly swiped at it with his tiny hands. The room buzzed with energy, bottles arranged neatly, a mobile twirling with celestial bodies, and a delicate aroma of lavender wafting from a diffuser Elena had placed. Gabriel rested against the doorway, cradling a coffee mug, his gray sweater casually rolled up to his elbows. At 42, he was accustomed to the polished floors of boardrooms rather than the playful chaos of nurseries. Yet observing Lila with her little ones awakened a profound feeling within him, a warmth that both frightened and fascinated him. Ever since Lila and the triplets entered his mansion, he sensed his defenses weakening, her resilience and their purity gradually eroding a heart he had sealed off since a painful separation long ago. In the stillness of the kitchen last night, their fingers grazed, and a soft promise lingered in the air. It remained, an ember he couldn't dismiss. "Good morning, everyone," he greeted, entering the room, his tone cheerful to conceal the nervousness stirring within him. "It seems like a celebration." Lila looked up, her smile gentle yet playful. "You're late," she remarked, glancing at Ellie, who was intently gnawing on a rattle. "These leaders don't hesitate." Gabriel chuckled, placing his mug on the table and crouching next to her. "Just, what is the task at hand, leader?" He playfully tickled Ivy's foot, prompting a delightful squeal, while Lila's laughter chimed in, a melody that sparkled like sunlight dancing on water. "It's almost time to eat," she remarked, offering him a bottle. Finn is particular, preferring it to be warm rather than hot. "Do you believe you can take it on?" "Challenge accepted," he declared, grasping the bottle, their fingers grazing for a fleeting moment. Her gaze darted to his, a warmth rising in her cheeks, and Gabriel experienced it once more, that magnetic force, drawing him closer to her. He cleared his throat, directing his attention to Finn, who seized the bottle with unexpected vigor. They moved in harmony, Lila nourishing Ellie, Gabriel engaging with Finn, Ivy joyfully kicking in her crib. The triplets were flourishing. Dr. Chen's most recent checkup indicated weight gain and no lasting impacts from their previous hunger crisis. Lila appeared more resilient, her figure less delicate, yet the locket still rested heavily around her neck, a poignant reminder of her history. Gabriel hesitated to inquire about her husband, Tom, the accident, and the descent into homelessness, sensing that her defenses were still partially up. Lila observed him with admiration as he expertly tilted Finn's bottle just so. "I didn't expect you to be into babies." "Neither did I," he confessed, a smile spreading across his face. "However, these three simplify the process." Finn's azure gaze met his, and Gabriel felt a pull at his heartstrings. A blend of happiness intertwined with an uncharted depth, reminiscent of a memory yet to be experienced. Lila's gaze softened as she caught it, and for a fleeting moment, they were simply two individuals, not defined by their circumstances, sharing something genuine. The tranquility shattered as Ivy began to fuss, Lila effortlessly scooping her up with a practiced grace. Gabriel observed her with admiration, a young widow at 23, courageously raising triplets on her own, battling against eviction and hunger. "How did you manage that?" he inquired, his voice barely above a whisper, as Finn slept peacefully in his embrace. "Everything by yourself." Lila cradled Ivy, her smile dimming yet still present. She claimed there was no choice. Tom had meticulously crafted every detail. Names, cribs, a future filled with promise. "When he passed away, I was expecting, isolated, and continued on for their sake." She acknowledged the infants, her locket shimmering in the light. "On certain days, my meals were minimal, yet they had plenty of bottles. Then the apartment was gone and, well, you witnessed the park." Gabriel's jaw clenched, filled not with pity but with a deep respect, and a simmering anger at a world that allowed her to fade away. "You're truly remarkable," he expressed with sincerity. Many would have crumbled. Her gaze locked onto his, unfiltered yet unwavering. "I did break," she said quietly. "Just kept moving." She gently brushed Ivy's hair, then added, in a softer tone, "Your decision to pick us up is truly remarkable." His throat constricted, her words arriving like a treasure he felt unworthy of. "I'm no hero," he remarked, gently placing Finn in his crib. I simply couldn't abandon you there. Why not? She inquired, gently rocking Ivy, her tone inquisitive, tinged with a hint of daring. You might have reached out for assistance, turned and left. What is the reason for this? She waved her hand towards the nursery, the grand mansion, and him. Gabriel halted, the sunlight illuminating his dark eyes, causing them to shimmer. He gazed at me, his sincerity unmistakable. In the park, fading away, your eyes were in conflict. For them, for you. I felt the urge to battle as well. He shrugged, a hint of embarrassment in his demeanor. That might seem foolish, perhaps. Not dumb, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Their eyes locked, the atmosphere charged, and Gabriel sensed a compelling need to bridge the distance, to reach out and grasp her hand. Yet Ivy's yawn interrupted him, a small tether to the present moment. They shared a laugh, the tension dissipating, and enjoyed the day with the triplets, swapping out diapers, belting out tunes in a way that brings Ellie joy. Gabriel awkwardly handled the burp cloth as Lila directed him, her hand resting softly on his arm. Every instant crafted a creation. Trust, indeed, but beyond that, a cadence that resembled a dance they were yet to master. As Finn clasped Gabriel's finger, Lila's smile transformed in a unique way, inviting, open-hearted, as if she perceived him beyond the grandeur of the mansion. That afternoon, Gabriel led them into the garden. Radiant with blooms of roses and tulips, a fountain glistening beneath a pristine sky. Lila maneuvered the stroller, the soft sounds of the babies delighting in the fluttering butterflies, while Gabriel strolled alongside her, their shoulders grazing in an intimate proximity. Have you ever considered teaching? He inquired, remembering the crumpled teaching license tucked away in her backpack. You would excel at that. Her laughter carried a touch of melancholy. She expressed a desire to. Books for children, aspirations of first graders. It was Tom and I who devised the plan. Life had different plans. Life transforms, he remarked, pausing by the fountain. Sunlight enveloping him. If you feel inclined, you might still give it a shot. Her gaze sought his, a glimmer of hope dancing yet tempered with caution. Perhaps, she remarked, a smile dancing on her lips, teasingly. Text, are you really proposing to finance my return, Mr. Billionaire? He smiled, his heart pounding with excitement. If you would permit me, Ms. Monroe. Her laughter echoed, and Gabriel sensed its warmth. A change, as if the universe were leaning in her direction. The dinner scene unfolded in a whirlwind, centered around Elena's lasagna. Lila was feeding Ivy as Gabriel skillfully juggled Finn's spoon, while Ellie playfully smeared sauce around. They exchanged tales, reminiscing about Lila's childhood dog and Gabriel's botched camping adventure, sharing laughter that left them breathless. As Lila's hand brushed against his, clearing sauce from Finn's chin, neither of them withdrew, the contact a subtle vow. That evening, once the little ones were tucked in, they found themselves in the library, the sun having set, yet the lamps provided a warm and inviting light. Lila picked up a copy of Charlotte's Web from the shelves, her fingers gliding over its cover. She mentioned that she would share this with children if she were a teacher. You will, Gabriel said, sitting close, their knees nearly touching. I observe it, you, a classroom, these three celebrating. Her eyes sparkled, emotions restrained. You make it sound possible, she said, her voice gentle. No one has accomplished that since Tom. Gabriel's heart raced, her words a gateway unfolding. I want to, he declared, his voice stronger now. For you, for them, perhaps even for us. The final word escaped, unrefined, and Lila's breath hitched, her hand grazing his, intentional this time. Us, she repeated, a blend of a smile and fear dancing on her face, her locket shimmering in the light. He inclined his head, drawing nearer, the air around them charged with tension. Yeah, he whispered, but just as he was about to continue, Ellie's cry pierced through the monitor, intense and demanding attention. Lila stood, entranced, yet her fingers tightened around his, a momentary promise. As she departed, her gaze hinted at unspoken possibilities, leaving Gabriel to observe her retreat. Realizing he was plunging deeply, swiftly, and undeniably, the garden of the mansion flourished beneath the warm embrace of a late May sun, with roses and lavender dancing softly in the breeze, the atmosphere rich with potential. Lila Monroe maneuvered a triple stroller along the gravel paths, her triplets, Ellie, Finn, and Ivy, cooing at a butterfly dancing by, their 6-month-old faces glowing with delight. 2 weeks had gone by since Gabriel Hart discovered them unconscious in City Haven Park, and the mansion had transformed into a sanctuary, vibrant, cozy, filled with the sound of the baby's laughter and a fresh feeling blossoming in Lila's heart. The sunlight danced upon her golden locks, while her emerald eyes held a gentler gaze, the locket around her neck a weighty reminder of days gone by. Gabriel strolled alongside her, his typical sweater replaced by a crisp white linen shirt, sleeves casually rolled up, a picnic basket swaying gently in his grasp. At 42, he was a billionaire, the Hart Tech's empire a testament to his success. Yet in this moment, he was simply Gabriel, his dark eyes crinkling with mischief as he playfully teased Finn with a daisy. Lila's laughter from last night in the library lingered in his mind, her hand gripping his, her soft whisper resonating within him, a tune he found impossible to dismiss. He had vowed to abandon love following a betrayal from 10 years past, yet Lila, with her fierce spirit and delicate nature, was redefining his boundaries. "Do you believe they're prepared for their inaugural picnic?" Gabriel inquired, gesturing toward the triplets, his smile youthful and playful. Lila grinned slyly, tweaking Ellie's sun hat with a playful touch. "They stand poised for turmoil," she remarked. "Are you confident you can manage mashed peas and spit up?" Destined for this moment, he remarked with a playful wink, and her laughter echoed, vibrant and unrestrained, stirring a profound ache in his chest, a yearning that was both intense and genuine. They laid out a blanket beside the fountain, its water glistening beneath a clear blue sky, and arranged the babies, who joyfully kicked on a quilt. Lila cradled the bottle for Ivy, while Gabriel expertly mashed bananas for Finn, their actions flowing together like a well-rehearsed performance. Ellie clutched Gabriel's finger, chattering away, while Lila observed, her heartstrings pulling gently. Gabriel wasn't merely assisting. He was present each day, getting to know her children, truly seeing her. Not the fractured woman from the park, but a complete person. "You're quite skilled with them," she remarked gently, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, "more so than you realize." He glanced upward, banana in hand, and smiled broadly. He offered high praise, his voice steady and confident, yet his gaze remained locked on hers, warm and unwavering, a flicker of something deeper igniting between them. "They simplify it just as you do." Her cheeks flushed, and she focused her attention on Ivy, the compliment settling softly like a pebble in calm waters. Gabriel's attention, the nursery, the garments, her faith in her educational aspirations, had broken through her barriers, yet the moment from last night, their fingers interlaced, had altered something within her. She sensed it, an attraction to him, thrilling yet daunting, akin to emerging into the light after a long time in darkness. They enjoyed sandwiches, fruit, and Elena's lemonade, while the triplets napped in the stroller, and the garden enveloped them in a cocoon of peace. Gabriel reclined, the sunlight glinting off his dark hair, and inquired about what teaching had been like, before everything changed. Lila took a delicate sip of lemonade, the sunlight catching the glint of her locket. "Enchantment," she murmured, gaze far away yet luminous. "I taught first grade, filled with picture books, glue sticks, and the joyful laughter of children. Tom and I envisioned a future where I would be certified and lead my own class. Then he vanished, and the infants arrived, and with a slight shrug, she offered a faint smile. It seems that dreams are in a state of pause, perhaps." "They don't have to," Gabriel said, sitting up, his voice filled with sincerity. "Consider embarking on a fresh journey, exploring new classes and obtaining certifications. I'd assist, not with finances," he added, noticing her unease, "but with time, support, whatever you require." Her gaze sought his, cautious yet intrigued. Why, she inquired softly. You've accomplished plenty, Gabriel, more than sufficient. He leaned in, the blankets plush around them, his eyes steady and focused. Because I see you, Lila, he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Beyond the role of a mother, beyond mere existence, you embody so much more. Your aspirations are worthy, and I long to witness your brilliance unfold. Her breath hitched, his words enveloping her in a comforting embrace. No one, not since Tom, had gazed at her in such a way, as if she embodied a future rather than a past. You're quite the handful, she remarked, a playful laugh escaping her lips. Yet her hand brushed against his, a purposeful caress, and neither withdrew, the atmosphere charged with potential. The infants stirred, shattering the enchantment, and their laughter filled the air as they tidied up. Yet the moment hung on, refusing to fade. Upon re-entering, Gabriel caught her off guard. A laptop rests on the nursery table, its screen displaying an online teaching course. He admitted it last night, a bit embarrassed. There's no rush, but it's a beginning. Lila's eyes grew large, her fingers gliding over the keys, tears threatening to spill. I can't afford, she began, but he interrupted her softly. It's all taken care of, he stated. Not isolated, not a handout, simply an opportunity. Agree, Lila. She paused, a battle between pride and hope raging within her, then gave a slight nod, tears streaming down her cheeks. Indeed, she murmured, and as she embraced him, swift and spontaneous, her warmth enveloped him like a familiar sanctuary. He embraced her for a moment longer than necessary, heart pounding, then released her, both grinning, slightly embarrassed. That evening, Gabriel took on the challenge of cooking pasta, a delightful disaster that he chuckled through, with Lila joining him in the vibrant kitchen as the sunlight transitioned to a warm golden hue. She diced the herbs, guiding him along, their elbows occasionally touching as Finn babbled from his high chair. You're utterly hopeless, she teased, skillfully dodging the flower puff he flicked, her laughter echoing through the room. Drawing inspiration from the finest, he retorted, playfully grasping her wrist as their gazes intertwined. The atmosphere grew tense, her heartbeat racing beneath his touch, and for a fleeting moment, he contemplated leaning in for a kiss, a desire igniting within him. But Ellie's excited squeal broke the spell, pulling them apart, both flushed, as the pasta threatened to boil over. Dinner was chaotic, sauce splattered all around, the triplets mashing carrots, yet it felt just right. Lila shared her tales of classroom mayhem. Gabriel recounted his misadventures with a failed startup, and their laughter intertwined, creating a bond deeper than mere friendship. As Ivy seized Gabriel's tie, Lila leaned in to liberate him, her breath warm and her eyes sparkling with mischief. You're trapped now, she remarked playfully, yet the sentiment resonated deeply for both of them. Once more, in the garden, the triplets slumbered peacefully while Lila immersed herself in her course. Gabriel seated beside her on a bench, the nearby fountains glistening in the sunlight. It feels genuine, she remarked, the laptop illuminating her face, her tone filled with wonder, as if she had rediscovered herself. He said, his hand brushing hers with intention. You never stopped being you. She remained close, her fingers intertwining with his, and the silence crackled with unspoken questions. Gabriel, she began, her voice gentle. This you, it's overwhelming. I'm uncertain if I'm prepared for it. She faded away, the locket shimmering, Tom's memory lingering like a ghost. I understand, he said, gently squeezing her hand. Take your time, Lila. I'm available, ready to support you in any way you need. Her eyes sparkled as she leaned in, their shoulders brushing together, the garden buzzing with the sounds of crickets and illuminated by starlight. I want you here, she whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence, and his heart soared, a promise unspoken yet profoundly felt. They lingered, fingers intertwined, until Elena's voice broke the moment, signaling it was time for the little ones to sleep. As Lila tucked Ellie in upstairs, she softly hummed a lullaby, while Gabriel gently rocked Finn, their gazes connecting over the cribs. Good team, she remarked with a smile, and he nodded, sensing it. An unnamed love, quietly blossoming. As Lila made her way to her room, she hesitated, glancing back over her shoulder. "Thank you," she said, her eyes radiating warmth, "for noticing me." "Always," he said, and her smile lingered in his mind. A guiding light within the grand mansion, drawing him further into her gravitational pull. The library of the mansion radiated warmth beneath the June morning sun, its lofty windows showcasing a vibrant garden where roses flourished in splashes of pink and yellow. Lila Monroe perched at a polished mahogany desk, her laptop aglow with the teaching course, while a notebook filled with hastily jotted lesson plans lay beside it. Her golden locks were gathered into a casual bun, her emerald eyes sharp and intent, a flicker of determination rekindling after years of mere existence. In a sun-drenched corner of the room, her triplets, Ellie, Finn, and Ivy, engaged in playful antics, their 7-month-old laughter harmonizing with the gentle clatter of stacking toys. Lila's locket shimmered softly, a subtle token of Tom, yet her heart soared, awakened by Gabriel Hart, whose warmth and an unspoken connection had anchored her soul. Gabriel lay comfortably on the rug, while Finn crawled over him, clutching a plastic block in his small hand. At 42, Gabriel was a billionaire, yet the empire of Hart Tech felt distant from this moment, where he truly felt most alive. 3 weeks prior, he had discovered Lila and her little ones unconscious in City Haven Park, and now, the mansion had transformed into a sanctuary, not only for them but also for emotions he could no longer ignore. Last night in the garden, with her hand in his, her whispered desire to have him close had shattered his heart wide open. He contemplated love, a word unspoken, wary of overwhelming her, of shattering the delicate growth that was unfolding. "Watch out, buddy," Gabriel remarked, hoisting Finn up to prevent a fall, his smile beaming. "You're more formidable than my conference room." Finn squealed, and Lila glanced up, her laughter gentle yet radiant, reminiscent of sunlight filtering through the leaves. "You're falling behind," she playfully remarked, glancing at Ellie, who was building a tower taller than Finn's shaky stack. "She has outdone you." Gabriel grasped his chest, feigning a dramatic flair. "Betrayed by my own team," he remarked with a wink, and Lila's smile grew wider, her eyes holding onto the moment. The air vibrated with an electric familiarity, fingertips grazing the past, gazes lingering just a moment too long, and Gabriel sensed it more intensely now, an irresistible draw toward her that he couldn't resist. The scene froze as Elena burst through the door, her expression tense, clutching a phone tightly. "Mr. Hart, there's someone waiting outside who claims to know Lila. Will not depart. It seems there's a problem." Lila stood still, her pen slipping from her grasp, her eyes wide with an emotion Gabriel had never witnessed before. Fear, intense and unfiltered. "Who?" she inquired, her voice trembling slightly as she stood, watching Ivy extend her hand toward her. Elena paused, refraining from providing a name. "Worn, rugged coat," as his family described. "Security is detaining him at the entrance." Gabriel stood resolutely, Finn cradled in his arms, his jaw set with determination. "Stay here," he instructed Lila, his tone a blend of softness and authority, as he handed Finn over to Elena. "I will take care of it." "No," Lila stated, cradling Ivy, her voice trembling yet firm. "If it's the person I suspect, I must take a look." Her gaze locked onto his, a blend of desperation and determination, and Gabriel responded with a nod, placing his faith in her resilience. The anxiety consumed him. They entrusted the triplets to Elena, making their way to the gate, the sunlight pouring down on the mansion's pristine white stone. A man lingered beyond the iron bars, in his 50s, grizzled, wearing a stained coat, his eyes filled with a hardened intensity. Gabriel was surrounded by his security, yet Lila's sharp intake of breath signaled that trouble was near. "Ron," she murmured, her fingers tightening around the locket. "Father of Tom." Gabriel's hand lightly touched hers, anchoring her in the moment. "What does he want?" he inquired softly as they drew near. Lila swallowed, her voice barely above a whisper. She mentioned custody. After Tom passed away, he attempted to take the babies, claiming I wasn't suitable and too financially unstable. Cast aside, yet his relentless spirit endured, unyielding and fierce. Gabriel felt a surge of warmth in his veins, his instincts sharpening with a fierce protectiveness. He confronted Ron, his voice steady yet unyielding. "You're trespassing," he stated. "Please specify your purpose." Ron cast a disdainful glance at Lila. He remarked, "Those children, my own flesh and blood. She's a chaotic whirlwind. Relying on you, dear heart. I will nurture them properly. The court will recognize my perspective this time." Lila advanced, shaking yet resolute. "You'll never lay a finger on them," she said, her voice trembling. "You wounded Tom, you wounded me. They belong to me." Ron let out a chilling laugh. "We'll see, my dear. I have secured legal representation now. You will not succeed." He pivoted sharply, striding away with security following closely behind. Yet his words lingered, a tempest amidst the clear skies. Once back indoors, Lila collapsed onto the couch. Ivy nestled in her lap, tears flowing freely. Gabriel knelt, his heart heavy with sorrow. "He won't win," he remarked, gently taking her hand, his thumb gliding over her knuckles. "I will hire the finest legal experts available. You are not alone, Lila." She gazed upward, her eyes weary and strained. "I can't let them go," she whispered. "They are everything to me." "Not all," he murmured, his voice heavy as he grasped her hand tightly. "I am yours." Her breath caught in her throat as she leaned closer, their foreheads touching, a soft sob breaking the silence. He embraced her, Ivy nestled between them. A bond of promise, guardianship, tenderness, something deeper. That afternoon, Gabriel reached out to his legal team, a retainer of $10,000. Placing an order for a custody block. No inquiries needed. Lila remained nearby, calming the triplets, her smile strained yet appreciative. In the nursery, sunlight poured in as Ellie meticulously stacked blocks, while Gabriel shared a clever bottle-warming trick with Lila. Their laughter, delicate yet genuine. "You're relentless," she said, observing him deftly handle Finn's rattle, her tone now gentler. "Just for you," he remarked with a playful hint. Yet his gaze held a weighty intensity, and the warmth on her cheeks revealed her awareness of it. A transformation, affection subtly emerging, unspoken yet expanding. The evening was serene, with Elena's soup giving off a warm steam, while the babies sat contentedly in their high chairs. Lila began to speak, her voice faltering. "Ron treated Tom terribly," she remarked, as she stirred her bowl. "Intoxicated, harsh." Tom interrupted him, but after his passing, Ron approached us, claiming I would let the babies down. Nearly happened right there in that park. Gabriel's hand enveloped hers, radiating warmth and a reassuring steadiness. "You did not fail," he declared with intensity. "You have battled, and you stand united in this moment." Her eyes sparkled, and she returned the squeeze, a wordless expression of gratitude. In the library, the lamps shone brightly, illuminating the shelves that seemed to radiate with warmth. They meticulously examined her course, with Gabriel probing her on lesson plans, ensuring Ron's presence remained distant. Their knees brushed against each other, her laughter softening the moment, and as she yawned, he lifted Ivy into his arms, Lila walking alongside him, their movements perfectly in harmony. "Stay," she whispered, tucking Ellie in, her voice a blend of timidity and courage. "Simply converse. Loneliness is something I wish to avoid." He nodded, his heart pounding, and they settled beside the cribs, speaking softly. Her cherished novel, his most disastrous culinary attempt, aspirations they had yet to express. "I longed for a family," Gabriel confessed, his voice barely above a whisper, as Finn's gentle snoring filled the quiet space around them. "Missed that opportunity, believed it was lost forever." Lila's hand intertwined with his, fingers gripping firmly. "It isn't," she declared, her gaze fixed on his, vibrant and unyielding. At last, Gabriel, you have arrived. That concludes it all. He inched nearer, captivated by her warmth, her bravery. Their lips met in a gentle, hesitant kiss, soft and charged, her locket resting coolly against his chest. She withdrew slightly, a flush creeping across her cheeks, yet her smile hinted at the possibility of what was to come. "Good night," she murmured softly, rising to her feet. Yet her fingers hesitated, a promise for the days to come. Gabriel lay awake, the mansion illuminated by the moonlight, Lila's kiss igniting a fervor within him. Ron's threat cast a shadow, yet her trust and love flourished, genuine and deep, deserving of every struggle. He would safeguard her family, integrate himself into it if she allowed him to. The kitchen of the mansion hummed with the warmth of mid-July, sunlight streaming through open windows, shimmering on marble counters where a bowl of fresh strawberries rested. Lila Monroe stood at the stove, flipping pancakes, her blonde hair cascading freely, green eyes sparkling with a serene happiness she hadn't experienced in years. Her triplets, Ellie, Finn, and Ivy, chattered in delightful sounds, now 7 months old, their cheeks flushed as they playfully smeared cereal, sharing giggles with one another. The recollection of yesterday's kiss with Gabriel Hart, gentle, ephemeral, charged with energy, remained, enveloping her in warmth greater than the summer sun. Her locket felt lighter, the pain of Tom's absence a gentle throb alongside the fresh promise blossoming for Gabriel, who had become her anchor, her companion, perhaps her destiny. Gabriel sat with the little ones, a blueberry-stained apron draped over his crisp white shirt, gently offering Ivy a delicate spoonful of yogurt. At 42, he had amassed a fortune, the empire of Hart Tech thriving beyond these confines. Yet in this moment, he was just Gabriel, his tousled dark hair and crinkling eyes as Finn playfully swiped at his nose. A month prior, he had rescued Lila and her triplets from disaster in City Haven Park, and now, their lives intertwined, her teaching course, his nurturing presence, their exchanged looks. The looming threat of Ron's custody, now a week old, hung in the air, yet Gabriel's lawyers were fiercely battling it. Last night's kiss had confirmed an undeniable truth. He cherished her, even if the expressions lingered unspoken. "Chef Monroe is truly surpassing herself," Gabriel remarked, skillfully avoiding Ivy's wildly swinging spoon, his smile playful. The aroma of pancakes evokes a sense of triumph. Lila chuckled, arranging a stack onto a plate. "Better than your toast catastrophe," she retorted, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Their playful exchanges flowed effortlessly, yet her heart quickened under his gaze. At this moment, comforting and reliable, hinting at something beyond just the morning meal. "Touché," he remarked, rising to assist, his hand grazing hers as he took the plate, a purposeful spark igniting between them. Her cheeks flushed a deeper shade, while his grin broadened, each aware that the kiss was not a mere accident, but rather the start of something new. At the sunlit table, Ellie spread jam with delight. Finn playfully tossed a berry, and Gabriel caught it, laughter ringing out. Lila observed, her heart brimming. He wasn't merely kind, he belonged to them, woven into their chaos, their joy. However, when Elena delivered the mail, a legal envelope nestled among the bills caused Lila's smile to waver. "Ron?" she inquired, her voice strained as she dried her hands. Gabriel opened it, quickly scanning, his jaw relaxing. "His team," he remarked. The court rejected his motion, citing a weak case and lack of evidence. "You are secure, Lila." He grasped her hand tightly, yet her sense of relief was fleeting, the locket weighing down on her with the burden of past anxieties. "He won't stop," she said as Finn reached for her. "Not until he hurts us. He won't," Gabriel declared with intensity, hoisting Finn onto his shoulder. "I am present, we are present." His gaze locked onto hers, a promise unspoken, and she acquiesced, drawing closer to his unwavering presence. Their fingers entwined beneath the table. That afternoon, they ventured to the garden, alive with the colors of tulips, a fountain gurgling beneath a pristine blue sky. Gabriel maneuvered the stroller with ease, while Lila held Ellie close, their movements synchronized, shoulders gently touching. "You're teaching tomorrow?" he inquired, glancing at her course, a note of pride evident in his voice. During the initial Zoom class, she smiled as Ellie's hat bobbed around, a mix of nerves and excitement in the air. "Feels like I'm truly myself once more." "You're going to excel," he remarked, pausing by a rosebush, sunlight glinting in his dark eyes. "I would wager everything on you." Her laughter was gentle, yet her eyes held a daring intensity. "Watch out," she teased, "I might take you up on that." His hand brushed against her cheek, gently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. And in that moment, the air became still, their breaths mingling, a kiss poised on the brink of reality. Yet Ivy's exclamation shattered the moment, both laughing, the memory preserved for another time. Once back indoors, calamity ensued. Finn let out a harsh cough, the sound thick and wet, his cheeks reddening as Lila tended to him. Gabriel furrowed his brow, feeling the warmth on his forehead. "He's warm," he remarked, concern rising. Lila felt a wave of nostalgia wash over her, as memories of longing in the park flooded her mind. "Fever?" she inquired, her voice quivering as she cradled Finn. Gabriel dialed Dr. Chun, his composure concealing a rising panic, and in less than an hour, the nursery, adorned with star decals and flooded with sunlight, transformed into an impromptu clinic. Chun observed Finn, Ellie, and Ivy peacefully napping in close proximity, a frown creasing his brow. She mentioned bronchitis, mild, yet his delicate, low weight from earlier lingered. "Administer antibiotics, ensure he gets plenty of rest, and keep a close eye on him." Lila's tears streamed down as she held Finn close, his cough now softer yet still cutting through the silence. "Text, I should have seen it," she whispered, the locket glinting softly. "I feel like I'm letting them down." "No," Gabriel said, kneeling, his hand resting gently on hers, cradling Finn's tiny foot. "He's not lost. He's unwell. We will resolve this as a team." His voice remained calm, drawing her closer, and she agreed, leaning into him, his arm encircling her, a barrier against her fears. They alternated duties, Lila administering Finn's medicine, while Gabriel gently rocked him. The nursery bathed in warm sunlight, toys strewn about. As evening approached, Finn's fever subsided, his eyes shining with renewed life, yet Lila felt utterly exhausted, burdened by a weight of guilt. Gabriel instructed Elena to fetch some soup, then settled her on the couch with Ivy in a bouncer and Ellie gnawing on a block. "Eat," he said, offering her a bowl, his voice a blend of softness and authority. "You'll be of no use to him if you fall apart." She offered a faint smile, gently stirring the broth. She called him bossy, yet she indulged, his presence soothing her spirit. As Finn drifted into slumber, Gabriel gently led her to the library, where the shelves shimmered beneath the warm glow of lamps, and the windows welcomed the enchanting starry night. "Speak," he urged, leaning in, their knees brushing against each other. "What's bothering you?" Her eyes sparkled, her voice barely above a whisper. She admitted, "Ron's right. I'm not enough. Finn is unwell, and I find myself overwhelmed with fear of losing them, you, everything that matters." Gabriel clasped her hands, his hold both warm and intense. He assured her, "You are more than enough. You are everything to them, Lila, and to me as well." The words tumbled forth, unrefined, as her breath hitched and her eyes widened. "Yours," she murmured, a blend of a smile and trepidation dancing on her lips, the locket resting close to her heart. "Absolutely," he murmured, drawing nearer, pulse racing. "I adore you, Lila. You, them, this. I'm fully committed, wholeheartedly devoted." Her tears streamed down, yet laughter escaped her lips, a melody of relief, as she kissed him deeply, confidently. Her fingers tangled in his hair, his arms enveloping her tightly. The library dimmed, leaving just the two of them. Love is no longer a whisper. It now roars with passion, igniting everything in its path. They separated, gasping for air, their foreheads still pressed together. I love you too, she whispered, her voice quivering. Yet I find myself gripped by fear, Gabriel. It's monumental. I understand, he murmured, pressing his lips gently against hers. A vow sealed in that moment. We'll take our time, but I'm here to stay. You are my family. She nodded, the locket slipping from her mind, her smile glowing with warmth. They came back to Finn, who was now asleep, with Ellie and Ivy safe beside them. They sat together, fingers intertwined, observing the gentle rhythm of their world. Gabriel devised a strategy, engaging lawyers to neutralize Ron's menace, securing a doctor for Finn, and envisioning a future with Lila. Yet in this moment, their kiss enveloped them, a promise more powerful than any fear. As Lila rested against him, Finn's cough now absent, Gabriel softly murmured, "We've got this," to her, the babies, and to himself. Love was their battle now, and he had never felt more powerful. The August sun enveloped City Haven Park in a warm, golden light, its lush green lawns speckled with daisies, while children joyfully pursued kites beneath a pristine blue sky. Lila Monroe stood beside a picnic blanket, her blonde hair cascading freely, green eyes shimmering as she adjusted a sun hat on Ivy, now 8 months old, who let out a joyful giggle from her stroller. Ellie and Finn chattered excitedly next to her, their triplet connection creating a delightful whirlwind, their faces fuller and healthier than that desperate day 2 months prior when they had collapsed here, rescued by Gabriel Hart. Lila's locket lay gently against her chest, the memory of Tom a tender warmth, no longer burdensome, her heart brimming with a new love. Gabriel, her companion, her sanctuary. Gabriel knelt close, arranging sandwiches and juice on the blanket, his white shirt sleeves rolled up, dark hair dancing in the breeze. At 42, he remained the billionaire of Heart Tech, yet the title seemed to drift further away. In this moment, he belonged to Lila, the guardian of the triplet, a man transformed by the power of love. Their kiss from a week prior, accompanied by her soft whisper of "I love you, too," had solidified everything. There would be no more restraint. Finn had overcome bronchitis, Ron's custody threat was dismantled by Gabriel's lawyers, and Lila's teaching course flourished, with her first class achieving great success. Today marked a joyous occasion, honoring them, their loved ones, and the future they are determined to champion. "Do you believe we have an adequate amount of food?" With a grin, Gabriel watched as Finn snatched a grape, his gaze playfully challenging Lila. "Are these three perhaps preparing a grand banquet?" Lila chuckled softly, cradling Ellie on her lap, the lively atmosphere of the park reflecting her happiness. "They're scheming," she remarked, with a playful wink. "You find yourself outnumbered, Hart." "Always," he murmured, leaning in, his hand lightly grazing hers, a spark that had endured since that very first kiss. Her cheeks flushed immediately, his grin was filled with understanding, and the delighted squeals of the triplets only enhanced the sweetness of the moment. Their family had developed a rhythm they embraced together. The picnic blossomed with laughter, Gabriel playfully tossing berries for Finn to catch, Lila engrossed in a picture book with Ivy, while Ellie mischievously smeared jam on Gabriel's cheek. Visitors to the park beamed, a few acknowledging Gabriel from fleeting news segments, yet he paid them no mind, absorbed in the warmth of the blanket, the sound of Lila's laughter, and the innocent trust of the baby. He had invested $20,000 in Finn's care and an additional $15,000 to secure Lila's custody, yet it was not the money that connected them. It was this, chaotic and genuine, a passion that resonated beyond riches. With the babies peacefully napping in the stroller, Lila nestled against Gabriel, the sunlight gently warming their shoulders. "This is where it all began," she murmured, her voice gentle as she stared at the bench in the park, now merely a fragment of the past. "I believed I had lost it all." He grasped her hand, their fingers intertwining securely, his thumb gliding over her knuckles. "Instead, you discovered me," he remarked, his gaze inviting. "We discovered one another." Her heart swelled, his words resonating deeply within her very being. Once a widow, she had faced homelessness and despair, yet Gabriel recognized her spirit, her aspirations, her resilience, and the deep affection she held for Ellie, Finn and Ivy. He had provided her with a sanctuary, not merely a structure but his very essence, and her love for him was profound, with unwavering intensity, completely devoid of any fear. "Lila," he said, turning to look at her, his voice dropping to a low, serious tone. He retrieved a small box from his pocket, a rich velvet blue, and her breath hitched, eyes widening in surprise. "This wasn't part of my plan, yet it feels just right. You and them, you are my everything. I have no desire to take on the role of your savior or your landlord. I desire to be by your side for eternity." As he lifted the lid of the box, a modest diamond ring sparkled within, catching the light beautifully. No ostentatious displays, just genuine, hers. Tears flowed, the locket left behind, joy constricting her throat. "Gabriel," she whispered, her voice quivering, as the sounds of Park faded away, leaving just the two of them. The gentle sounds of the baby's snores create a soothing melody. "Marry me," he said, his voice heavy with emotion as he locked eyes with her, not out of necessity, but from a mutual decision to be together. "Us together, the Chaos Crew." He acknowledged the triplets with a nod, a smile breaking through the veil of his own tears. She chuckled, a sob escaping her lips, and nodded, her hands cradling his face. "Indeed," she declared, resolute, glowing. "Indeed, I select you." She kissed him, a deep and warm embrace, infused with the sweetness of strawberries and the allure of promise. With her fingers entwined in his hair and his arms wrapped tightly around her, the rings slipped from their minds, love prevailing in the moment. Ellie's coo interrupted their moment, laughter spilling from both of them, breathless with joy, as Gabriel gently placed the ring on her finger. A flawless match. "You're stuck with us?" Lila teased, wiping away her tears, her smile radiating like the sun. He smiled, kissing her once more, this time with a tender touch, before lifting Finn, who had just stirred, and playfully tossing him into the air, eliciting joyful giggles. The park whirled with life, kites dancing in the sky, laughter of families echoing. Yet their blanket formed a universe, whole and perfect. That evening, within the mansion, bathed in sunlight and vibrant with flowers, they shared the news with Elena, who wept with joy, embracing them and vowing to bake a cake. The triplets felt the exhilaration, their voices rising in a joyful chorus, Ivy tugging at Gabriel's tie, Lila liberating him, their hands grazing, igniting a fresh spark. The evening unfolded in a haze, with pasta, toast, and juice intertwining with a cascade of plans. A quaint wedding, Lila's passion for teaching, a life where love was the currency, not mere wealth. In the nursery, aglow with star decals and soft lamp light, they gently tucked the babies in, Lila softly humming a lullaby while Gabriel cradled Ivy in a soothing rock. "Do you think they'll accept me as their father?" he inquired with a hint of humor, his voice strained. "They already do," Lila remarked, leaning against him, her ring glinting in the light. "You belong to them, Gabriel, just as you belong to me." He pressed his lips to her forehead, his heart brimming, barriers gone. "Always," he declared, and truly meant it, their love a promise more enduring than any band. Months later, they exchanged vows in the garden, surrounded by vibrant roses and clear skies, with the triplets in their tiny outfits, capturing everyone's attention. Lila wore a simple dress, while Gabriel donned a relaxed suit. Their vows were sincere, a promise of choosing each other every day. Friends celebrated, Elena wept, and a gathering of teachers, nurses, and park visitors came together, captivated by their narrative, not the news. Lila was now teaching a part-time class, with Gabriel cheering her on for her first day, feeling healthy, while Ron remained a distant concern. They remained in the mansion while envisioning a school, modest and commuter-friendly, called Haven Hearts, designed for children like Lila's, crafted from affection rather than extravagance. It wasn't merely a donation. It was a vow made among the triplets, a commitment to a world yearning for compassion. Their narrative unfolded gently, not in a whirlwind of attention, but softly, resonating with hearts through exchanged smiles. a duo who discovered solace in one another. On their first anniversary, they revisited the park, picnic basket in tow, with Ellie taking her first steps, while Finn and Ivy delighted in chasing bubbles under the boundless sunlight. Gabriel embraced Lila, their rings shimmering, and murmured, "Worth every moment." She pressed her lips to his, the sound of children's laughter filling the air, and gave a knowing nod. For eternity, she declared, their family a beacon that no shadow could extinguish.